All right. It's time. It's finally time to get into data collection proper. Let's go ahead and open up her story. There we go. Okay. So, I just to give I guess a brief re-description of what it is that I'm doing for all of this data collection. I am going to be playing through 3 games, one of which is this one, Her Story, to figure out how they portray archives and archivists. This is for my master's thesis on that very topic, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've already done a very short pilot run for each of these 3 games, Her Story included. And so I will kind of be, I guess, collecting some of this data in duplicate. But you know what? That's fine. We can pretend that I'm looking at this with fresh eyes, okay? So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, I'm not sure, excuse me, I'm not sure if I'm going to do all of this in one sitting, or if I'm going to break this up over multiple periods of gameplay. We'll see how this goes. Can I just say, the BGM is so atmospheric. And if you hear strange sounds in the background, that's not from the game. It is, in fact, my housemate's bird, who is a very noisy little boy, but yeah, he's gonna be noisy for a little while longer. So that's just kind of gonna be a thing, okay? So, this is Her Story. And we are looking, as soon as the game launches and we get past that starting screen, we're already looking at an archive. This entire game is basically set in an archive, which is really, really nice for my research. So, I have with me the very same, I guess you could call this a data collection checklist that I used in my pilot testing. I'm going to fill it out again because the way that I see things now may or may not be different to the way I saw things back then. Actually, no. Before that, I might just tweak some settings. I might just toss on that anti-glare filter. As much as I enjoy this really old school looking screen, look at that brightness, it's gorgeous. As much as I enjoy this, I think for the purposes of actually being able to look at what's going on for a relatively long period of time, we can just turn that off for now. But that does lead me to note that, I mean, I'm going to turn it on again just to describe what I'm seeing here. Whatever all of this glare is that we're getting, it looks like we, the player character, or I suppose I should say I, the player character, am sitting in a reasonably brightly lit room. You don't get glare like that from dark lights, right? So I will go ahead and take that off. This physical space is pretty bright. wherever it is. The next thing that I think is quite clear to note, we're looking at archived footage. We're looking at videos that are being archived, video clips. And I'll pop open the readmes shortly, but this is also, type of workspace is a computer. A very old school computer. I mean, it is old school to the point where 232 megabytes is probably counts as small. So, you know. And the name of this archive is the logic database of the Southeast Constabulary. Yes, I am taking my notes by hand, just in case you can hear that little scratching sound. Logic database. With dots in between each of those letters. I don't know if it's meant to stand for something. I don't know, I really don't know. But for now, let's pop open that readme. And it's quite obvious here that this is a police database specifically. Call it institutional. I don't know if it would necessarily count as like governmental. I don't know what Portsmouth's government structure is. I don't know if the police counts as part of the government there, but at any rate, I'll just say it's police specifically. And this used to be a tape archive. Or at least, this database is like a subset of that particular archive. Which, oh my gosh, there has been technology that has automatically sorted a lot of this footage. People have been interviewed, people have been, the videos have been tagged, the audio has been digitally transcribed, and there are some instructions here about here's how to use this. And for any further assistance, please contact your department's information technology representative. Thank you, Police Information Technology Organization. I'm not able to contact you because that's not within the scope of the game. So let's have a look at this really readme. One thing that we notice here is that SB, presumably Sam Barlow, the maker of the game, had to file forms in order to get us, the player character, guest access to these tapes. So there's some amount of, security measures here. There's registration. You can see that there was a specific login. We had to authenticate ourselves as guest, although we didn't have to do that. The player character did. And also freedom of information forms. So I'm just going to write that down. And another thing that has happened here, unnamed archivists. Let me just grab another part of my checklist. So there are people who have done archives-related things. As far as we can tell, at least from this README, there is not necessarily... They have not been named, they have not really been identified, they are unidentified archivists who did some digitization of the original tapes, which is kind of like a technical thing. I think when I did my pilot test. I think it was last week. Yeah, it was last week or so. Today is, in fact, the 7th of August. I mentioned that I didn't know where that fit in my checklist. I discussed that with my supervisor. It's a technical thing, and we're literally just sticking it in the other section as well. So, these people presumably exist, and then no one has done anything with these quote-unquote mothballed videos. So these tapes and the videos themselves have been completely neglected. The archivists, if there are any, have basically gone AWOL, at least in terms of what they're doing for these tapes specifically. And there is a good chance that, you know, these videos may no longer be considered important enough to maintain. But that's not explicitly said. Now, Sam couldn't find the server with the detectives footage on it. Possibly those tapes got damaged when the old archives were flooded in 1997. So that was 2 years before the transfer of these videos that we're going to look at. I am going to note this down. There wasn't old archives. And if you are not familiar with the difference between archive and archives, archive, I have heard, my understanding from the literature that I've been reading, is that it is very much kind of the metaphor of the archive as kind of like an overarching concept, whereas archives, with the S at the end, with the plural, that is, you know, what we're looking at now. The place where records are stored, where we have archivists who do, you know, technical work like gathering the records and describing them and compiling them into collections and making them accessible to people. It's very much the archival science deal rather than, you know, the metaphor. So, this previous old archives, all we know about them is they stored tapes, they got flooded. That's about it. Okay, that might be all the note-taking that I need to do for now. I'm going to just quickly check some of those other things. You'll see this DB checker, database checker. I can't really do anything with refreshing. So this is, as I recall, how the game gauges your progress in one way. And the more of this that turns green, I believe. Good luck if you're colorblind, I guess. But the more of this that changes color, that means you've accessed more videos. Once all of this has changed from red to presumably green, that is 100%. That's when I'll call myself done with this game for the purposes of this research. I'll only check in on that every now and again. I'm not going to be too fussed. Here's the clock. It tells us that it is the year 2025, although in real life, it is not actually the 16th of June. As I recall, I played this such a long time ago, I barely remember any of it. But I'm pretty sure that there is specific story detail related to this specific date. But it is 2025. Can you believe that a police archive would still be using technology that looks this outdated? Once again, this outdated in 2025. That means going off of this, they haven't changed their computer in like almost 3 decades. 1999? This computer? Yeah, that's a long time. Honestly, I don't know what to say about that. There is a trope of archives only having access to, outdated technology. In fact, it's in the code book that I have beside me from previous research. What is the exact code? Let me have a look. Ah, yes. Old-fashioned and outdated tools and technology. That is what is written here. That is very much true in this case as well. And of course, because of the way that the game works, the further in the future that you play this game, the more ridiculous it's going to get, right? Because if you play this game like 10 years from now, the clock will tell you it is 2035, and it will still be, everything will still look like this. And it will all have been transferred over within the story onto this computer in 1999 or thereabouts. And at that point, it will have been it will have been 35 or 36 years of this one police station or whatever using this specific computer to enable people to access this footage. That's so old. What? They are not updating this ever. That's awful. I hate it. So, the rubbish bin. That's some cute stuff. Someone has given us a small thing, hack.nfo. I find this text quite hard to read. I think GR, is that an A or? It looks like it could say grace. I'm not 100% certain, but the second word is definitely hack. IRC, hashtag GHack. Incidentally, I think people still use IRC these days. It's a bit more niche than it used to be, of course, but IRC, can you believe it? Mirror game, copyright Hsoft. It has been cracked by CyberGhost. Supplied by the legends Stripper, You Never Seen Us XXX. Packager Illusionist. One for the mums here, classic 2-player strategy for lunchtime gaming. Enjoy. Oh, and here is some ASCII art. Cracks with class. Look at that face. I can't make out any real proper features, but it's there. It's there. So, mirror game. Oh, excuse me, I have just... Okay, I think this is just Othello or Reversi or whatever you want to call it. I don't actually know if there's anything secret locked away behind this. I don't imagine so. Let me just... I could probably try and figure out how to lose this as quickly as possible, but it's easier just to click. I don't want to think. Let me not think, okay? Okay, this might take a while. I accidentally made the first move without realizing, and then we were just stuck doing this, and this is fine. This is just fine. Player 1 wins. Okay, yeah, it looks like it's just a filler. Okay, shall we get to the actual gameplay? Here we have a search bar with a word filled in already. Murder. Imagine that. This could get dramatic. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, let's search. Let's go. It takes a little bit to query the database, and we have 4 entries. Let's go left to right.
You think it's murder? I mean, clearly it's murder. What can I do to help?
And you will notice that this specific interview tape was taken in 1994. So that means that these particular files would have been, oops, that's the wrong readme. These particular files would have been stored on the original tapes for 5 years? And then digitized in 1999. And then if no one has touched them since then, that means these videos have just kind of been sitting for, yeah, more than 20 years doing not much, really. So yeah, it was murder. What can she do to help?
Yeah, that's me. But February, that was months ago. What's that got to do with Simon's murder?
This is very much, I think, the kind of game where it's useful to take notes. Incidentally, I'm pretty sure that this is what a user of an archive in real life would have to do. They would have to take notes as well, right? So, you know, I'm not too fussed about this. You'll also notice as I go through this, there's a little bit of nice metadata included. There's, you know, the length of the file. We can pop in some user tags. I don't know if I'll use them. Maybe I will. There's the name here. Actually, let me just quickly... D141A, D163A, D181A, D188A. These might be sorted in order of file name. Let's keep going.
I didn't murder Simon. You've got it wrong. You've got the wrong person.
Remarkably composed for being accused of murder.
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other, just that. Stories.
I mean, if that's not a hook for curiosity, I don't know what is. Oh boy. Okay, so here's the README that tells us how to actually use this archive database. So, to retrieve a clip, we type in a word such as robbery into our search field, right here. So, murder has already been done for us at the time of the game's launch. Click search and the database will return all clips in which the speaker uses that word. So it's matching on what exactly the speaker says. To narrow a search, use multiple words, such as robbery supermarket. If you are working from a printed transcript, you can be even more precise. Use inverted commas to search for an exact match against the entire statement, such as, yes, I was there. To store a clip for later reference, click Add to Session. Also, if you wish to add additional tags of your own to help further future searches rather, please click in the user tags box and type in your desired tags. So it's allowing us to do a little bit of our own sorting and categorizing, I suppose. I don't know how much I'll do with these ones. I don't know how many I'll do user tags for. We'll see how that goes. And if we pop open the database checker, you can see we have a couple of things that have turned green. Actually, this is not so bad for colorblind people. They are solid green rather than hatched red. This one's yellow. So I guess we've found everything from these specific parts of the database, and then this one is partial. That's what I'm assuming here. In a real archival database, you probably won't see something like that. Honestly, like, this kind of thing very much screams like old technology to me, and this is not necessarily the kind of thing that we would have in a modern user interface these days. So honestly, this might not even be like an archives thing. This might just be like a very old computer thing. I'm thinking about disk defragmenter right now. Oh, those were the days. Okay, so there were a few terms that came up that we could use to search. I believe that last time in the pilot I searched for not murder, I searched for Simon, and it came up with like 5 million results, which is a lot. And it only showed the first 5. So let's do something a little bit different. One word that jumped out to me there was stories. And you can see there are I say quite a few, 8 entries found, access limited to first 5. One of them we've already seen. That was the one from the murder search. Let's have a look at these ones.
Okay. Sounds weird. I'm not great at making up stories.
I really want to know the context of why she's been asked to make up stories, if that's what happened.
Yes, I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we had, we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play up there and make up our own stories.
Okay. We have a doll's house. That seems like it might be relevant. That is, it feels for like a very specific thing to mention. I don't know if that would be true in real life, but at least for the context of a crafted story like in this game, yeah, I can see this being a potentially important detail for later. I've taken note of it.
Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories.
Yep, so there's a bit about fairy tales as well. I've noted that down.
No, it was just me and her. Eve was the name they were going to call their first child. They talked about it and were going to try when it came back. Florence's family had a history of firstborn girls, so they were convinced it was going to be a girl. It's hard to know if this is all true. These are stories I remember, that I read when I was a child. Maybe I misread, maybe I misunderstood. Sometimes it's hard to remember what happened last week.
I mean, that last bit is way too true. I don't even remember what I had for dinner yesterday, much less last week. But at this point, you'll notice that our background music has changed. I think it was just not playing earlier, but it's it's definitively changed now. Anyway, I am going to add a tag to this one because she is discussing something that I want to possibly keep in mind for later. Family relationships. Family tree, maybe? I'll call it family tree. And I'll add that one to session 4 later, because that seems like it could be useful. There have been multiple names mentioned, as well as relationships between those people. I've already forgotten what she said, but the point is we'll have this here for later. Let's keep going.
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it.
There's the dollhouse again.
I mean, they wouldn't have had the money to buy it. It was so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there. It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, gave them all really elaborate stories. Once, a moth got trapped in there. We'd left a light on. It was making the most horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
Of all the things, a copy of the Arabian Nights, that is such a specific thing to remember. Oh dear. But yeah, that's the dollhouse again, and the dollhouse sounded incredibly extra. So I might search for that. Oh, okay. So one of those things that you will notice as we go is there are a whole bunch of interviews that have happened for this particular person. It's only her, in fact. That's why it's called her story, right? It's her telling the story. Let gasp. But this is nice. We've only have 5 entries. I'm not too worried about having to scroll through too many things being cut off in this case. Let's go.
Yes. I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back. Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, the dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
This is another family tree thing, maybe. I'll just leave it there. Whoops, decision. This one we've already seen. That one we've already seen. Let's have a look at this one.
She recognised me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse. She hid me up there. No one else ever went into the attic. It was her place.
I really feel like the next thing that I should search for is attic. Just given the number of times it seems to have popped up in discussions around the dollhouse.
The legal stuff was completed very quickly. Hannah moved back in with Simon. Eric gave Simon the week off to help with the move. He decorated, modernised wallpaper, curtains. Hannah insists the attic be left as it was, dollhouse and all. Simon never went up there.
Okay, we have another other name. I don't know if it counts as family, but I'm just going to tag it under family tree anyway. So at this point, we have done 3 different searches based on things that I have been curious about that I've heard in one or more of the videos that I've watched in each kind of like group, right? I feel like that's in some ways really quite similar to actual archives research. Like, I mean, to be fair, I have not actually used archives all that much, but it's easy to imagine, right? Looking into something and you see something in a document or a record and you go, oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I'd like to know more about that. And then you search for that, right? It's very much following that same kind of human curiosity. Hmm. So, I said I would search for attic next, right? Let's do that. Oh, enter key works. Nice. 12 entries found. Access limited to first 5. We've already seen 4 of them.
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
Nice drink. Lavender matcha, if you're curious. Okay, so a couple of small new things from that. There are dolls in the dollhouse. They have hair. One of them is Rapunzel. Sure, let's have a look for Rapunzel. Oh wow, there's actually more than I expected. One thing that's nice about this is this search bar is not case sensitive. I can imagine that the user experience, if it was case sensitive, would be really bad. I'm pretty sure that most archival databases are case insensitive and they don't care about the case that you use, so that's a good thing from the usability perspective at least.
It's Rapunzel. The story starts when she's born. Mother Gothel, a witch, takes Rapunzel from her parents and keeps her locked up in this tower. Rapunzel gets pregnant by the prince, and Mother Gothel is furious, so she cuts off her hair and throws it. Actually, her hair's already short here, so that's already happened. But she throws her into the wilderness, and Rapunzel is reunited with the prince, who's blind.
All of a sudden?
She kills him with her tears, and so it's a happy ending. Is that too much?
I have to assume there is some sort of picture interpretation exercise going on there. I don't know if I want to tag that. No, I won't.
Sorry. The picture, the way it's drawn, just reminded me of the books we used to read as children. I read those fairy tales over and over, and they were so real to me. Rapunzel was my favourite. My brain is just full of it. Are any of these in colour?
They did have colour printing back then, of course they did.
Did I pass? Sorry, I messed it up with all that Rapunzel stuff. Do you need me to do that card again?
No, you know what? I'm going to tag it test.
We were obsessed with fairy tales. Not just the pretty ones, but the traditional ones. They were dark and real, bizarre and violent. Felt like life. We had this huge old book that I think Mum must have bought from a library sale.
Oh, library
The
mentioned.
illustrations had thin tracing paper over them to protect them. They were in colour, shiny plates. At the front of the book was an index of illustrations. We read that more than the actual stories. We'd read aloud the captions and flip between the pictures. There was something intimate about peeling back the tracing paper, undressing the pictures. Rapunzel's hair is cut. The eagle plucks out his heart. The princess pricks her finger.
Well, there was mention of a library. I will probably talk about how libraries and archives are compared, contrasted, possibly even mixed up with each other in my discussion, but this is just mention of a library sale. It's not really relevant. This is fine. Incidentally, I do wonder what will happen if I search for archive. Yeah, nothing. And library is just the library sale. Okay, cool. I just wanted to knock that out while it was in my mind. Oh dear. Lots to do with fairy tales, though. That one was entirely from. That was entirely from the search about Rapunzel. Did I search for fairy already? I did not. I will search for fairy and see if something new comes up. Yes, yes it did.
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time.
What age?
Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can.
Hello, family tree tag. Okay, so we have a clearer understanding of their relationship now. That's good. They were together in some romantic way, presumably.
Well, she wasn't my real mother, but she raised me. Do you want to take the story? It's a real life fairy tale.
Did you not just say that real life is not a fairy tale in the other video? How far were these apart actually? The 1st of July 1994 and the 3rd of July 1994. In 2 different interview rooms. Well, this one is probably a meeting room rather than interview room, but this one is almost certainly an interview room. Or, sorry, not interview, interrogation would be more likely given the context. I'm just going to add that one to session actually, and this one as well. Does this scroll? Let's have a look at how far we've gotten. Okay, that's quite a bit. Maybe this is actually the most recently viewed rather than anything else. I'm not 100% certain on that, but we'll see. We'll see. So that's fairy tales. or rather fairy, rather than fairy tales. Let's... 7 entries found. Okay. Doesn't matter if we search for the plural or not in this case, it seems. At any rate, I don't know which single video got excluded because it wasn't in the first 5. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. She mentioned in one of those a glazier's place where she and Simon both worked. Oh, we've got a couple times that it's come up.
A mobile phone? Yeah. Well, they have one for the glaziers, but it's only for work. I can't remember the number. Oh, it's in the kitchen. I saw it plugged into its charging cradle.
Mobile phones back then were the brick type, weren't they? Or flip phones?
Diana's really nice.
Oh, new name.
She helps out with the glaziers, organises the Christmas party, that sort of thing. They have 2 kids, really sweet kids. She used to look out for me when I worked there.
Little bit of difference there between what was said and what was written. But that's fine. It happens, especially with, automated transcribing. I'm going to tag this family tree even though this is clearly like a friend or co-worker rather than actual family. That's fine. Oh, nice. I can scroll.
I did. Well, we met when we were 17, both working at the glaziers.
Okay, that's useful information.
We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby, if it came. It was a nice change, time to myself, living there for those months, full of hope.
That's interesting. I am not 100% sure who exactly would consider living with a friend's parents to be time to themselves. Something about that seems weird, doesn't it? Family tree. Oh! Kind of want to put a pin in that one, but is there a way for me to unadd a session? Doesn't seem like it. That's kind of annoying. I would like to unpin this thing, but it's not letting me. Alas.
No, everyone loved Simon. He's a glazier, he doesn't have much money. I don't know.
Presumably that's the detective asking, hey, why would this person be the one who was murdered? Possibly. Okay, let's go for it. Let's finally search for Simon. 61 entries found. That's so many.
Simon Smith. He works at Ernst Brothers Glass. They do windows, all kinds of glass. Simon does the more special work. Mirror making, feature windows, artistic things. Really beautiful things.
Well, now we have the full name of Simon Smith, and the name of the glaziers is Ernst Brothers Glass. How convenient. Might tag this with names.
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair, average build. He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. And order photo. They said a spring photo.
Wow, old school.
It's the best one I have.
There is no ability to pause or freeze frame these videos. I feel like being able to freeze frame that would be useful. Let's keep going.
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars there that Simon likes to drink with, and the barmaid they have in sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
Do I want to call this family tree? I'm kind of just using that just generally, more than for the family itself. This is the problem with user tags. You gotta be consistent with yourself, and that's hard.
Yes, there's an Amstrad one. No one uses it very much. There's a printer so you can write letters on it. Simon sometimes plays games, you know, and Save the Princess, that kind of thing.
She's talking in present tense. But isn't Simon the murder victim? That should be in past tense, right?
Simon isn't the type to run off or do anything crazy. Someone must have done something to him, or there must have been some kind of accident. So what do we do next?
Accident. Only 2 mentions.
When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs. It was an accident. I had read a diary at that point and I knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street.
Family history, I guess? Ooh, let's spell that correctly. Okay. Incidentally, how am I meant to access things based on those additional tags? It doesn't, it just says please click in the user tags box and type in your desired tags. And how do I, it does not actually say how I access them. Oh, empty search just works. I wasn't expecting that.
Black coffee, thanks. No sugar. Sweet enough as it is.
Charming.
My name is Hannah. H-A-N-N-A-H. It's Pamela. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work if you mirror it though. It's not quite symmetrical, but well, you get the idea. Sorry. Hannah Smith. I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
Address. So it looks like it's just gone chronological order. Here's the first stuff from the very first interview. 18th of June, 1994. I don't know how we would find the ones specifically from the very end, but there you go, I guess. Yep, it looks like this must be the thing that I saw most recently. And it looks like I've seen the end one. That was from the murder search, wasn't it?
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
Yeah, this is the very last one, so at least if we're going off what this says. If we trust this database checker, right? Which, let's say that we do. That is the very, very last clip, then. From the final interview, which is 3rd of July, 1974. I was about to say June, that's not quite right. Okay. So we finally know who this woman is, at least by name. Her name is Hannah Smith. Let's search for her name. She does not look like she's having a good time here, does she?
What are you doing talking about me?
But, like, she had to know that she was being videotaped, right? Right? That's a bad tag, I won't remember it. Let's say unusual behavior.
Yes, my name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Test. Testing. Did I say it was test or testing? I don't remember.
Across the road, where my parents first lived there, was a midwife called Florence. When Hannah was born, I was born at the same time. The midwife was there to help. I'd been throttled by the cord, probably wrapped around my neck by Hannah. The midwife told my mother I was dead. But I wasn't. She wrote all this stuff in a diary. Amazing what people will admit to on paper.
Like gasp, she might not actually be Hannah at all. Also, I think the light just flickered. So I may go ahead and say that this archive is probably not the most well maintained. Occasional light flicker. But I should make a note that it is based on story progress. I'm going to call this family tree. So she's probably not Hannah at all. She has been potentially lying about who she is. That's fun, isn't it? I'm just gonna double check what I called it test. I might adjust that to be testing rather than just test because it's, I hope, less likely to be picked up. Let me just, yeah, okay, cool. Let's, here we go. So hold on, this was
Yes. My name is Hannah Smith. Oh, shit. Sorry.
Presumably, she's hooked up to a lie detector here, and that went off because she was lying and saying that she was Hannah when she is actually not, perhaps? Hmm. Incidentally, I do want to just quickly... Oh yeah, it's still just as bright there. There are quite a few clips from that final interview, it seems, as well. Okay, let's close that. Other things of interest. Let's search for Eve. This is that one from earlier where she was behaving strangely.
Well, my friend Eve. I mean, she was a friend from when I was a kid. And she was always more popular with the boys, and I used to hate her for it. I mean, really hate her sometimes. Yes. We'd fight. We fought on the beach once, and I held Eve's head underwater.
I don't think that's just a fight.
There was no one else around. It was at the far end of the beach, and I held her head under, and I kept it up. And for a moment, I just wanted to kill her and watch her drown. But that was it. It was just a moment. We made up afterward. It was a love-hate relationship.
Does that even count as a fight? That's the next level up from a fight, I think. That's concerning.
A police station. Yeah. When I was young, we ran away on my birthday. Bob Dylan was playing in London, and we thought we could break into his tour bus and have him take us with him. The taxi driver we paid to drop us off. I mean, we'd saved money, pitched a bit here and there to pay for the fare. He was suspicious because we were so young, so he told the police.
As you do.
So they came and picked us up and took me back to Portsmouth.
Oh.
Mum picked me up from the station. But I blamed everything on my friend Eve. So my parents let me off.
Excuse me, it's pronounced Portsmouth.
My mother called me Eve.
There you go. So perhaps we should be calling her Eve instead of Hannah. I wasn't about to search for, Okay, let's search for Mother. Couple new ones.
Okay. There's a girl and she's staring out of the window. She's sad. She's trapped. She's here. She's looking out the window because her mother won't let her out.
So this is from that image testing again. And later on...
I would have been a good mother. I was young, but I would have been a good mother. She was a girl, by the way, the baby. We were going to call her Sarah. Simon wanted to call her Ava after his nana, but I didn't want her to have a symmetrical name.
There is definitely some stuff going on there about names and the way that she thinks about them. She's only mentioned the word symmetrical twice. Incidentally, I'm not sure if... Oh, that's a bird. I'm not sure if wildcards work. Wildcards do not work. I think that might... Maybe that would make the game a bit too easy for those of us who know how to use wildcards. Too easy is the wrong word. This is not the kind of game where easy or hard is really... The limit here is your curiosity, right? And your search skills, I suppose. Your ability to pick up on specific pieces of information. Okay, let's see if that name pops up again, actually. Sarah. No, just there. And I imagine Ava will also only... Yeah, okay, cool. Baby, let's have a look for baby.
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were staying for the baby.
Okay, they were married.
To be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. No, I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months.
Oof.
We carried on living at Simon's parents until, well, it was only a few months after. It was after dinner. I had spoken to Simon's parents on the phone. I looked up from memories and I suddenly had this thought. I think it was something his mum had said. She'd been speaking about old stuff. Sad stuff. About when we lived there. About the baby. There's some boxes in the cellar, nursery stuff, stuff we never needed and I never had the heart to throw out. And I suddenly remembered that when I'd looked down there the week before, those boxes, that pile was in the wrong place. I went cold all over. I went down there with a torch and went straight to the back. And that's when I saw the bin bags. Pulled them open, saw the body. I screamed and that's when I called the police.
Murder. There goes the light again. That audibly. There was actually sound that accompanied the light flickering there. Maybe I should switch the anti-glare filter back on just to catch it the next time something happens. I'm gonna... Incident details. Am I going to remember that? I don't know.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
But then it ended up being a miscarriage anyway, which is unfortunate. Maybe if we search for body, we might get a few more details.
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen.
Okay, multiple interviews.
I found the body.
Interesting comment about that bruise, though.
His body. It didn't look real. And his throat. like his throat had been cut. And I didn't see his glasses. There's these thick glasses. It doesn't always work.
That is another one, I think, for the incident details tag. You can actually see, if you look carefully, the scuff marks on the monitor now that I've got the anti-glare filter turned off. Okay, music time.
Really? Laid a body on the doctor, oh, the wind and the rain, till a fiddler with a fiddle came walking by, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle bow of her long hair, oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made a fiddle bow of her long blonde hair, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made 50 pegs of her finger bows, oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, he made 50 pegs from her finger bows, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And he made a fiddle out of her breastbone, oh, the wind and rain. The sound could pierce a heart of stone, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. But the only tune that the fiddle could play was, oh, the wind and the rain. Yes, the only tune that the fiddle could play was, oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Anything you sing may be used as evidence against you.
Okay, so while that was happening, I grabbed my phone and I looked this up to see if it was a real song. Turns out it is. I am looking at a page from frontierpartisans.com, a blog post called Oh, the Dreadful Wind and Rain, published on October 5, 2016 by Jim C. It seems that this is a song that is it is called Oh, the Dreadful Wind and Rain, and it is murder. It is a song about murder, and also about sibling rivalry, I guess, I see. There are various versions on YouTube, apparently. And this is apparently also a really, really old song, from 3 centuries and more ago, to quote this blog post. So, you know, this is very relevant song choice, right? Whoever this interviewee is, she may very much have been engaged in sibling rivalry. Also, there was a murder. Who knows about bones, though?
Can you imagine? I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had. I was prettier. I mean, how could you stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
interesting is that siren that just happened something that actually happened, or are we just imagining it? I don't know if I want to record this on the checklist. No, I won't. This doesn't seem archive specific necessarily. Let's search for bones. Okay, just that one. Maybe bone singular. Nope, just that one. Okay. Maybe if we search for sister, because it seems like the relationship between these two is one of the key turning points in these videos.
You want me to play something?
Why did she bring her guitar in the first place?
I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay? Probably needs tuning. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. There were two sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the wind. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. But he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swans. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
So, of course, I had to cross-reference this with the blog post that I found, and it looks like the lyrics here are different. I wouldn't be surprised if they were modified for this, because it seems quite specific given the content of some of the other clips that we've seen. But also, you know, folk songs, they don't always have the, you know, the lyrics change. They evolve over time. So, who knows? It could be a version created for this, it might not be. But I suspect the former.
When she went home, Simon had a birthday tea waiting. Afterwards, she told Simon about me, told him I was pregnant. She wanted me to move in with them, this sister he didn't know she had. She knew that instant. The look on his face.
Knew what? Oh, and we got a flicker of who we are. Archive user. We basically just got like a brief flicker of a face. I'm probably going to have to go back and look specifically at the freeze frame if I want to see exactly who we are playing as.
She sent him out the house, kicked him out, called me up, crying, and I went round. I guess I had a feeling I could hear something was wrong with her voice, but I wasn't sure what it was. She's got my sister on the phone. She never calls me that.
Oh, that's ominous. You can't say that that's not ominous.
My sister is gone. And she's never come back.
That sounds like murder. That's concerning. I wonder if she's used that phrase before. Nope, just that. I don't know what possessed me to search for this.
No. I mean, yes, we have arguments, but he never runs off. He always comes back. We make up. It's always that way.
So, a thought. When was it she said that the bruise disappeared?
Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No. Not drugs. I mean, he drinks, but never very much. He goes to the pub and has one or two. Sometimes we go together. He drinks wine with food, but he doesn't have any kind of drinking problem. When you've been married for 10 years, stuff accumulates.
You don't say.
You could argue about anything. And he's so nice. That doesn't help. He tries to smooth things over, and that just makes it worse. We're both passive aggressive, so we never normally argue directly about anything. I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
Is that cute? I guess it's meant to be sweet, but... Oh, Bruce has come up a couple of times. This is the one that we saw before.
The bruise. I have a really fast metabolism, so stuff like that just comes and goes. I don't know if there's much more that I can tell you that I haven't already told the other policemen. I found the body.
I wonder if there's a possibility that they traded places in between these interviews.
Bruce? Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. We had like hell.
So that's the 25th. This is the 27th, so that's 2 days later. And the bruise is gone 2 days later. That's kind of sus. Yeah, put that in there. Put a pin in that. There is a possibility that they switched for some reason.
If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull a harness to match. Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the same to me. But she almost went too far. I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snapped a frozen piece up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies were synchronised anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
That does explain what she was saying earlier. I say earlier. In one of the videos we found earlier about the way that her period stopped when her sister's period also stopped.
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I tried to take it and nearly crashed the car.
Concern.
That you can't rely on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him.
That past tense though.
It was that way with Carl. Hannah met him first. She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin. She had lots of excuses. After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
A hairbrush, good god. That does not sound pleasant. In the slightest.
This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious, so angry. The kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
And by the sound of it, they did not duplicate their injuries on each other. Let me just double check my query history. By the way, I do want to say the experience, I guess, of doing this searching is kind of very flow-inducing. Flow in the sense of, you know, the psychological concept of flow. It is... you just want to keep going, almost. Wait, did I search for sister? Yes, I did. I had a thought, and then I went to say something, and then no, it's gone now. Fight. Let's have a look for fight. Okay, might just be that one. Let's have a look for something different. Hey, they weren't just sisters, they were identical twins. Of course.
Twins? Really? Are you really asking me that question?
Creepy flicker.
Are you out of your mind? Twins? Florence took me home with her. Mother hadn't been expecting twins and had a healthy baby. I guess she was just happy for Florence to clean up. Take away the evidence that this was anything but a happy occasion.
Maybe you should look into Florence after this.
There were always princes and princesses. They were the special people, more important than the other characters in their stories. We knew we were like that. Twins. Magical. We were the princesses. We had a poster of Princess Diana from the newspaper up in our attic. Had a pride of place. Underneath we used to put all our special things. When her engagement was announced, we were obsessed with everything she did. And later, when her life went so bad, we felt for her. Her divorce last year just kind of drew a line under things.
Oh. Divorce. We didn't hear about this earlier, did we? That's the only mention of it. Okay. Anyway, I said that we would search for Florence, so let's do that.
Florence raised me in her home. I never left it. She kept me out of sight. It wasn't odd for people to see a midwife with a baby, carrying in supplies, washing nappies, that sort of thing. I never knew any different. I grew up looking out of my window and seeing her across the road. I thought it was like a reflection in the mirror. She was me.
This is probably related to that thing she's got with names and symmetry of names.
Florence was a warm, kind person. But she was broken, I guess. When I found her diary, I also found a biscuit tin with other stuff in it. Older papers, letters, that kind of thing.
Records!
Her story wasn't there. I never really spoke to her about it. I was far too young to really understand, I guess. I just put it together later, once I was older. She had loved children, planned to have a large family, but her husband died in the war. And that was back when you married for life. She never felt like she could marry again. Isn't that so? She was a widow from her 20s. But, I mean, I guess it was different then. You know, married for life, she felt she could never marry again. I guess it was harder, a war widow. One of the dead. I don't know, maybe there was more to it than that. I don't really know.
Would we say that that was accessed by interview subject? Dare I call her the main character? Not the player, the main character. I'll come back to this one. Anyway, one thing that stuck out, reflections. Reflections in mirrors. Here we go.
Silverleaf? No. He normally silvers them properly. This mirror, it's supposed to look antique. The reflection isn't as good. It's the perfect mirror for someone who doesn't like to look at their own reflection. Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think. We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements.
Yet another flicker. I think ages was the tag that I used for that, wasn't it?
Mother wanted me to grow my hair long, but I kept cutting it myself. I wanted to look like my reflection. She always had short hair when she was little. Mother would hide the scissors, but I would find a way. Cut it with a bread knife, something like that.
Dangerous.
My reflection would always leave her house and go on adventures, but I never could. Mother taught me at home, and I had books and TV. TV was magical, but it was only on when it wanted to be, so I spent a lot of time reading books.
Therefore, fairy tales.
I wanted to see my reflection. I thought that if I touched her, something would happen. We would become one. One girl. The fairy tale was over, the witch was dead, and I'd be restored to my rightful place.
What a feeling to have, right? Okay, mirror.
It wasn't the present so much, it was one of those arguments that had been simmering for a while. The present was a mirror, a nice mirror. He'd engraved the glass, the kind of mirror a princess would have in a story. He made it specially for me.
This is, I believe, when she still has brooms. And this is after.
The mirror. I can't remember. I put it somewhere safe. Upstairs, I think. I haven't looked at it since.
And the other thing that strikes me as relevant for this would be glass.
No, he doesn't have any tattoos. He has a scar down here near his stomach, past his hip. Cut himself with some glass. That was before, a long time ago. He looks just like the photo. He's not got his glasses on here though. He takes them off with the camera. But he needs them to see properly, you know. He has to read a newspaper or a menu in a restaurant. Not book so much, or watching TV.
Books and TV just come up, don't they?
Look, on his clothes, that would make sense. He made it, by hand. I mean, he brushes the silver onto the glass. It's not how they make mirrors these days. When he made the mirror, he gave it to me. No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water.
Different kind of glass. Not necessarily as relevant. Incidentally, though, mirror singular. Upstairs? Okay, what else is there to search? I do still have some notes that haven't looked into yet. And, oh, there's still so much to find. Let's keep going. Let's have a look for... We heard about Ernst Brothers earlier, didn't we? Okay, that is only from that one entry. Let's have a look for Ernst. And yep, okay. What about Brothers?
She's crying, I guess. She's sad because she thought she saw her husband with another woman.
Projection?
But it's okay, because she finds out it wasn't her husband, it was his brother. And so it's fine.
That sounds like projection. Speaking of which, there was one where she denied cheating, didn't she? Oh, she might have worded it differently.
Mum and Dad never knew what was going on and got so good at it. We were so in sync that we'd use each other to cheat. If one of us had a hangover, the other one would go to school. Whoever was best at a subject would sit the exam. There were lots of differences between us. Some things one is better than the other at.
Pretending to be a single person between multiple people just sounds exhausting to me, but... I mean, if that's how they chose to do it... I'm trying to remember what exactly the search was that brought that up. But I'm not sure. Marriage. Oh, let's spell that correctly. This would be a really painful game for someone who's not great at spelling, honestly.
I hoover, I dust every week, maybe less. I once asked Eleanor how often I should dust, and she said, if people ask, tell them you do it once a week, but every few weeks is okay. I think she was just trying to make me feel better. I mean, when I was there, she was hoovering every day, ran an ordered house. You know how that generation is, putting on a brave front.
Two cups?
She has secret stashes of cigarettes. Doug doesn't even know she smokes. When I was there, I saw her. She has these sort of porcelain vases, ornamental, next to the Reader's Digest books. Cigarettes inside. And she still has them. I mean, last time I was there, I looked in a vase. There was a fresh pack. I mean, all those years of marriage, and she still has a secret like that.
We should search for secrets at some point. I don't think we've done that yet.
So, our sex life is probably fairly average for a couple after 10 years of marriage.
Quote unquote.
Simon was very moral about that sort of thing. He wouldn't just walk out there and sleep with anyone. He wasn't that kind of guy. He took his marriage very seriously.
Is this the... No, this is... you can't tell. Her sleeves are rolled to a slightly different point here compared to here. This is a bit further up. It doesn't seem like she has that tattoo here, so that might very much be a different person and they are switching in between.
After the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
What did I say? Secrets. That last one, though. They had contact with each other.
It was supposed to be a secret. Just because Simon is dead doesn't mean I have to give up all his secrets. It doesn't have anything to do with what happened to Simon. No one murdered my husband because he cheated his expenses for a romantic weekend in Oxford.
I mean, if you put it that way. But the reason might be deeper than that, right?
When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor.
There it is.
Dad thought we had mice, but they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway.
Okay, we have a name for what she's doing that we can search up outside of this. I tagged the last one unusual behavior, didn't I? Oops. I do also want to search for just code. Oh, okay. Those two. I'm going to pop open a new window and do a bit of a search, I think. Because that is... There's no way that you'd put that in, a detail like that, and not make it real, right? Okay, let's have a look. Wikipedia, tap code, sometimes called the knock code. The tap code has commonly been used by prisoners to communicate with each other. There goes my cat feeder. Ah, okay. Okay, so the way that this works, according to Wikipedia, okay? According to Wikipedia, we've got a 5x5 grid of letters that represent the entire Latin alphabet, except C and K overlap. You tap two numbers, the first is the row, the second is the column. And that... you can translate it like that. So, let's have a look. Let's see if we can figure this out. I'm gonna start my new post-it note for this.
What are you doing talking about Eve?
I don't know if I've got that right. Let me see if this corresponds to anything, and if it doesn't, I've probably gotten it wrong. So the first group was 3-1, which is L. 3-4 should be O. 5-1 is E. Oh, that doesn't sound right. 1-5 is V. 4-5 U? Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I've probably gotten something wrong somewhere. Let's try again.
What are you doing talking about Eve?
No, it looks like I got that correct. Which means that this is a slightly typoed love you. I'm gonna put this in the tags. What about this one?
When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor.
I've already lost it. Oh, no, there is a scrubber. Never mind.
Tap them out on radiator pipes or the attic floor.
I just can't pause though. Ugh. That's a lot of 1s and 3s.
But they couldn't find any. Bought a cat anyway.
Let me try translating this and see if I got it right, because I'm genuinely not sure. One, 2 is B, 5-4 Y, 1-4 D, 2-3 H A. I have. Leah, can you not? Okay, I've definitely noted down the numbers wrong, but I think I know what's being said here. Bye, Hannah. I mean, if you combine that with that thing she said the other time about never seeing Hannah again, that's kind of ominous. Meanwhile, if we assume that over here in this video, that's Hannah saying she loves Eve. Ooh. Isn't that spicy? But we still have a lot that we haven't uncovered. I wonder if she said... Nope.
I love him so much.
Okay, at this point, he was missing?
No. I mean, he was...
Yeah, no tattoo.
He was so nice to everyone. He loves me. Cute. You must love them very much. What ages are they?
Oh no, if I search ages, it's gonna come up with that as well, isn't it? This is fine. I do wonder though, is that... because it looks really shiny. That's... maybe it was a temporary tattoo? Who knows? But it does feel like an interesting thing that may or may not have been intentional on one of their parts. I think tattoos were mentioned in another video, but... ooh, more.
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality.
Ah, there it is.
It's an apple, not a snake.
Eve. This is Eve then.
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
I wonder what that means from a legal perspective, by the way.
He saw me singing one of my shows. Pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was. But he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated by the likeness. He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married.
Oh.
I'm not sure what he was thinking. He later told me it was like he was dreaming.
Oh gosh.
A waking dream.
So I know I searched for cheating earlier, but I don't think I searched for this. No? Okay. No explicit mention of infidelity, but what we just heard, not exactly... does not exactly sound like the most faithful of people there.
When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
Speaking of which, there have been a couple of different mentions of diaries. Does everyone have a diary? I want to know. Okay, here are some new clips.
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. Helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page.
Well, that's not foreshadowing at all. Of course, both of them need to be on the same page. They're trying to be the same person. They're pretending to be the same person, rather.
It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. And we would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them.
Okay. I wonder if there's any more about rules. Yes.
Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty.
Oh, that vocal break.
Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know.
That is another testing scene.
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet.
Good gosh.
We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me, but that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to hold back.
What exactly happened with Carl?
After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got pregnant. From that one time.
So, comparing these two clips right here, that paints a certain kind of story, doesn't it?
It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird, in a way it hadn't been before.
Okay, Eve was living in the attic. And she didn't think it was weird before then, huh?
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first. That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit. But he was sexy. We were 15.
So young? That sounds young to me.
I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I was really into him, regardless of how he actually behaved. lots of drunken teenage sins.
That does sound like the kind of thing teenagers would do, to be fair.
I did it in a church once. It's stupid. So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
But in that later video, she mentioned not wanting to have another Carl kind of situation, right?
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
Where the rules were broken. Let's search for family, actually.
Yeah, when I was at school. I worked part-time in the front shop. It was sort of an extended family thing. My dad used to work there, my mum worked there before I was born. I did paperwork, filing, typing out invoices, that kind of thing. It was a good job for a girl back then. I didn't work a till or anything though, I was quite shy, so I wouldn't have liked to have worked a till.
How are we going? Progress-wise. We're getting a bit more green in there. This is a fairly early clip. Other things to search for. We did search Simon earlier, didn't we? Yes, we did. 61 clips. Understandably, this is the guy who got murdered. But I don't think we searched for the last name. Oh, okay, it's just the 3. Did we search for lie? Hey, here we go.
A week or so ago. It would have been the Saturday before my birthday. You know, I get like that on the weekends, have a lie-in, then want to get up and blitz the house.
I don't know how relevant that's going to be exactly, but we'll see.
Yes. I'll take a lie detector test.
Did they know at that point that polygraph testing is not actually accurate? I feel like they knew in the 90s. Anyway.
I've never taken a lie detector test before. Does it really work?
Okay, she did question it.
My name. That was the only question I failed. The lie detector works.
Confirmation that the person sitting there is in fact Eve, of course. Maybe detector. Nah, just those 3. That was lie. What about lies, plural? No, it's still those same 4. What else to search for? Mum and Dad, I think we haven't done yet.
Mum and Dad never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear, she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready.
That is honestly pretty funny though. Okay, few new things from Dad.
The whole thing was wrong. The bags, I think they were from our kitchen, you can probably check that. We never go into the cellar. It's just a place we put things we don't need. Dad used to grow mushrooms there. The bags were taped up. I think it was parcel tape, but I think it was ours.
I don't think I've searched for cellar yet either, have I? I'll do that after this.
No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. There's a cat flap in the back door.
Speaking of cat flaps, one of my cats is up to mischief. Rolling around on the floor, batting away my crumpled up post-it notes.
They said it was food poisoning. There was something in the food they ate. My dad liked to pick mushrooms, grow them too. They said it was the mushrooms. It was hard to believe. Death caps. They have a skirt around the cap. My dad taught me that. But the police had no reason to think it was suspicious. They lived alone. And no one had any reason to hurt them.
Another motiveless incident? What did I say I would search? The cellar? Oh, only 4 mentions.
Well, fine, considering.
The 2 cops again.
I got back into the house today, and that was weird, knowing your people have been there through my things. It's like I've been burgled. Only worse, obviously. I don't know. I haven't lived in the cellar yet. They sent a cleaner in. As good as new, he said. But they had to throw some stuff out. Couldn't get the blood out. And I'm still waiting to hear from the coroner so we can get a date set for the funeral. It's going to be a cremation. So, it happened very quickly. We hardly had to talk to each other. We agreed almost silently. The baby was what mattered. We'd help each other. We cleaned up. We bagged up the broken mirror, her clothes. They're gone. We took him down to the cellar. We had an alibi, and we wanted the body to be found later. We wanted to have suspicion on us, so we could then disprove it, rather than have it linger. Better to keep the body in the house than risk being seen with it. The watch, that was my touch, to make sure the alibi stuck.
Incident details. So it looks like they might have done it together. SB, how's it going down there? You done? Okay, just either no or yes. The answer is no. So this is how much we've filled in so far. We can, at this point, call it done. In terms of, the game will let us call this a finished game. But for the purposes of research, we're going further. We're trying to get 100%. So let's keep going.
He was wearing a shirt blue turtleneck shirt and jeans. He has a watch. It's a really nice one. That was a gift from his boss, Eric. He had his coat, a long grey duffel coat, like Paddington Bear. He would have taken that with him. It's not in the house. Yeah, that's Simon's watch. It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year.
So they both mentioned that.
Steel. It
Maybe.
would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, he must eliminate me.
Here's the alibi. I don't actually know who is who in this clip. These two clips. Glasgow, though. Okay, we have a couple of mentions of Glasgow.
I got in the car and I drove. And just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. Just had to sleep.
What was she running from?
Yes. I got to Glasgow, I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car. I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from the payphone, and then headed back.
Or I suppose more accurately, what is she pretending to have run from?
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
Sure.
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
So it was, as they mentioned, it was Eve who they had arranged the alibi for, so this makes sense. She's said that she's the one who was worse at driving. Speaking of which, pregnancy. This is another key thing.
Both our parents had a big powwow. We weren't even in the room. And they decided we should get married.
So that should be Hannah talking, I think.
Yes. Oh, I was sick again. This happened some days. I'm pregnant. It's morning sickness.
Wait, present tense? Currently pregnant?
No. Well, yes. He found out on my birthday. I told him I was pregnant.
This is probably another hint. Like, their choice of drink might very well be a sign for who is who.
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. was still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Eric had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then
The screen, the lights, they keep flickering. Have I searched for Eric yet? I feel like it might be a good idea to... Yep, here we go.
So, it was Friday evening. We had an argument. He left. On Saturday, he didn't come back. I waited all day. He was supposed to go help Eric out with something on the Saturday afternoon. He had a job. He didn't show. So Eric was ringing on the phone. I checked at the Rock, that's our local. They said they'd seen him on the Friday night, but not since.
Local pub, I'm assuming?
Isn't like him at all. Still not back by dinner time. It's getting dark again. So I decided to come and see you. His parents haven't heard anything either.
Okay, so this is a time-related thing.
Yes, there's a car that we share, a Cavalier, and a van he uses for work. It's owned by Eric, but we look after it. Both of them are there now, parked in the street. I'm not sure about the keys for the van. I can look for you when I get back.
Keeping on keeping on.
Yes, that would be in his wallet. It's a Visa, a silver one. He doesn't like to spend money he doesn't have, so he usually pays with cash. Eric convinced him to get one.
Eric has done a lot of things, hasn't he?
Eric was like an uncle to him.
That's probably why.
They spend a lot of time with each other, especially when they have to go to conferences. Have you met his wife, Diane?
There are conferences for glaciers? I mean, I guess that makes sense, right? I wouldn't have thought about it.
Not really. He would go to the pub. He had his drinking buddies there, but no one ever really came back to the house. Sometimes Eric, his boss, and his wife would come over for dinner. That would be us returning the favour. Diane is a really good cook, into her trendy ingredients. And the last time Simon cooked something off MasterChef, he got the recipe off CFAX, and I did my Lloyd Grossman bit, commenting from the sidelines. I had to find fennel from the supermarket. Have you ever eaten fennel?
I reckon fennel's pretty tasty, honestly. But not for everyone.
Simon and Eric arguing? No, I can't imagine they'd be arguing. And they get on so well. Unless it was something to do with work. Maybe Simon was being too much of a perfectionist. But I don't know. You should ask Diane.
Okay. And those are the only 5 times that Diane gets mentioned. Speaking of which, arguments, or arguing, those might be good to look for as well. Oh yes, here we go.
No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
Have we heard about Helen before? I don't think we have.
He's American stuff. A stupid argument, nothing specific. No one knows how to push your buttons better than those you're close to.
That could certainly apply to multiple people here.
Yes. He left after the argument. It was about 8 o'clock.
I assume that was the Friday evening? Before he quote-unquote disappeared? Okay, Helen has only been mentioned in these 2 clips.
It's the Rockington Arms, The Rock. It's run by a nice couple, Peter and Susan. There's some other regulars.
Yep, so the local pub.
Sometimes Helen. He just said Simon had been in and had a few drinks.
All right. At this point, my brain is feeling a little bit tired. Such is the nature of research based purely on hearing things that catch your interest, right? So I might call it here for today. I'd say we've filled in a decent portion of this so far, but there's still so much that we haven't found yet. So much. And we're not stopping till we get 100%. So I'm going to go ahead and log off, which is basically just the quit button. And that is going to be it for this session of data gathering. Hopefully I'll be able to finish in the next session. We'll see how we go. Alright. In that case, until next time.